planet, one race, one love, one people, one. Too many things that's causing one to forget about the main cause.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Evolutionary Entrepreneurs 2015. Wow, what an incredible day and what an incredible series. I have to say I feel a little sad to be here with you for our last and final interview. Hi, Ocean.
Hi, Sage. Hi, everyone. What an amazing convergence this has been. Thank you, Sage, and thank you everyone who's made it possible, including all the organizers and speakers and also all the participants.
Yes, every single one of you has been a delicious and delightful part of this incredible soup of evolutionary entrepreneurs. And for those of you that might be tuning in for your first interview, we are bringing you non-conventional business wisdom from really self-growth luminaries and leaders, people that might normally not be talking about business. And so we really are committed to helping you make the biggest impact and income possible in 2015 so that you can do your good work in the world. Because the truth is that the planet needs us and wants us, and we don't have to sacrifice our innermost joy and happiness, but it is time for us all to go together and really have each other's back so that we can make the difference on the planet that we're here to make. And I've enjoyed being with every one of you so much. I've so enjoyed seeing the comments on the Facebook page, and I enjoyed being with you on the last interview and bringing you the art of selling wisdom that I've been wanting to share with the group for a while. We have thousands of dollars pouring in to donate to Pachamama and Lynn Twist, and we'll give you the final count. My team is busy right now adding up the final count, so we'll give you that in an email by the end of the day. And I really want to encourage you to stay connected on Facebook, continue to connect over there, find other people that you love what they're up to, and connect outside of this community. We attract the most incredible entrepreneurs on the planet, is my belief. And we've been using Facebook as kind of a running note-taking guide. So introduce yourself, let us know what you do and what you're passionate about. And then anytime that Ocean shares just a brilliant piece of wisdom, because I know he will, be sure to capture it on Facebook. And that way, if you miss something, you can just go back. With no further ado, I do want to interview you for people that, introduce you, and I'm going to interview you for people that might not be as familiar with your work, Ocean. For those of you guys that don't know Ocean Robbins, he's the co-founder and the CEO of the Food Revolution Network. The Food Revolution Network is a 150,000 person member organization, global organization, and Ocean is also the adjunct professor for Chapman University's Peace Studies Department, which is really cool. Ocean is a co-author of the bestseller Voices of the Food Revolution with his best-selling author, who is a father, who is John Robbins. So for those of you guys that don't know John Robbins, he's an incredible best-selling author, and that is Ocean's father. And Ocean, just for me, Ocean represents like a man who has been on his mission his entire life. Ocean, at age 10, was a salesman and an accountant and the baker for the bakery called Ocean's Bakery, where he served natural and organic baked goods to hundreds of customers in his neighborhood. And Ocean was launching a nonprofit organization by age 16, which I love. While I was going around trying to sell Girl Scout cookies and feeling like a total failure as an entrepreneur at age 16 because I couldn't even sell a Girl Scout cookie, Ocean was launching a nonprofit that reached thousands of people. It was called YES, which stood for Youth for Environmental Sanity. And he directed the organization for 20 years. Ocean has spoken in person to over 200,000 people, and he's the recipient of many awards, including Freedom's Flame Award and the National Jefferson Award for Outstanding Public Service. I've done so many of these interviews, Ocean. My ability to speak clearly is getting a little whackbirds. I'm on day 3, so you have to forgive me. And for those of you guys that want to know more about Ocean's work, it's at foodrevolution.org. And Ocean, I just want to thank you for being here. I know you're busy, and I want to get right into it. I'm wondering, Ocean, for those of us that want to have a love-based, passion-based movement, especially a movement like yours that's non-traditional in nature, right? how do we grow a business while honoring all of the sort of demands that are on us in 2015, knowing the state of the world, knowing how so many people are struggling with such hardships? And, you know, we have global warming, we have the environmental crisis, we have the homelessness crisis. There are so many things that we want to tend to. Where do we begin, and where do we actually start to grow a business that makes money?
Well, thanks, Sage. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all that you've done to create this venture. Thanks for your passion and commitment to a life of integrity, integrity in right relation with the earth, with our communities, with your own highest purpose and passion. I think ultimately to be an entrepreneur is to be responsive to the needs around us and to respond to those needs by being of service in the highest way we can. So entrepreneurship is about seeing problems and also living into solutions. You know, if it's just a problem, I think what makes it a problem is when there's something else that's possible. Right? Otherwise, it's just complaining.
Right.
And we do plenty of complaining in our world. Right. But by the time you identify a problem, you're basically saying something could be better, something could be different.
Right.
And entrepreneurship is about identifying problems and then responding to them by being part of the solution.
Right.
And so I think you embody that, and so many of the people who are part of this event embody that. Ultimately, we all, I believe, have a responsibility as human beings alive in these times to find our highest service, our highest contribution, our highest response, and to live into that with all that we've got. You know, I think there are more than 7 billion parts to play in the transformation of our world, with more than 7 billion people on the planet right now. We've all got a niche, we've all got a gift, and any problem that you see is inherently a solution waiting to happen. So the question I feel I've been asking my whole life in some sense is, how can I be of service? What is asked of me? How can I be of highest contribution given the realities of the world around me, the gifts that I've got to give, the things I'm good at, basically, and what I'm passionate about and inspired about? And if we can find a convergence of what we love to do, what we're good at doing, and what the world needs, then to me that is a recipe for an incredibly fulfilling life. And so to me, the art of entrepreneurship is finding that sweet spot and living into it with all that we can.
I love what you're saying, and I love that you ask the question over and over again, how can I be of the most service? And one thing that I know about asking questions of the universe is that it opens up the energy. And so often we walk around in a conclusion of, what could little old me do? Right? Well, he's already doing it, and he's doing it better than me. She's already doing it. Why should I bother? It's like we get inundated with these conclusions that stop us in our tracks when we actually go to move forward. And you're somebody that really lives in the question ocean, and I love that about you. You're curious, and you're open, and you're coachable. And, you know, if somebody's already done it, like, learn it so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and put your own spin on it, you know? And that's a mindset that I feel like you've been in ever since I've known you.
Well, thank you, and that is certainly something I aspire towards. I mean, I think we all, some of us, or maybe all of us, are more comfortable when we think we've got something figured out. You know, we like having solutions, we like having answers.
Right.
And if you're any kind of entrepreneur, then part of leadership sometimes means being able to answer people's problems with solutions, right? At the same time, there is an incredible power and strength to knowing what we don't know.
Yes.
Knowing what our limits are, right?
Yes.
Or the limits of our certainty. And then when you know the difference between where you truly do have certainty and where you truly don't, there's an incredible power there. And what happens for me is that if something is important to me and I don't have clarity about it, then what's naturally evoked is curiosity. And I think curiosity, like hunger, is one of the most powerful forces on the planet.
I totally agree.
When you're hungry, that makes you salivate, and it makes you drawn to food, and it makes you digest it. And if you weren't ever hungry, you'd never be fed, you'd never be nourished, and you'd die very quickly, right? And similarly, when our consciousness isn't hungry for understanding and learning and growth, then our ability to serve will die very quickly. So I think your service is directly linked to your curiosity, to your engagement, to your development. And living into the places where you don't know is absolutely paramount to your ability to learn anything and ultimately your ability to serve.
It's so funny, when I went to Ecuador with Lynn Twist, I got to speak with a shaman down there, and they translated for him, and one of the things that he said was, the growth of life happens when you don't know. And I love that because that is always the thing that holds me up the most. Like if I get a clear yes about something, it's a clear yes. If I get a clear no about something, then yeah, like leave it behind. But there's this in between in the journey, like the things that maybe we think we could do but we don't know, or we think it might be time to move on from a job but we don't know it. He says all the learning is there. He says everything you'll ever really do to grow yourself in this lifetime is in the in between. It's not in the yes, it's not in the no. And so I love what you're saying about curiosity, because if any of you are watching and listening to Ocean and I, and you're like, okay, so I kind of want to do this thing and I don't know if it's the right thing, and you still have questions about it and there's still confusion about it, like that's the juice of life right there.
Yeah, yeah. And how can you get the support that you need to grow, to learn, to gain more clarity or wisdom or understanding? I think one of the most dangerous forces on this planet is false knowing. Thinking we know what we don't, and then we proceed with a certainty that is utterly unbacked up by reality.
Yes.
And that is what enables human beings, I think, to unleash vast destructive power.
Wow, I can really feel that in my body. And you and I had a conversation about this once where you spoke to the forcing clarity. Like when we force clarity, it can be dangerous on this planet. And I really loved what you said about that, because I feel like the whole world is ready for leaders who are standing in all of themselves in integrity. And we have seen leaders that force clarity. And we've seen leaders that are pushing from a place where they might not totally be aligned with. And it's hard to resonate with those leaders anymore. I think the world is ready for leaders that are coming from a place of, this is all of us, and it's not rainbows and butterflies, and it's all true. And the thing that's going to bring us the most peace is to get out there and to follow our calling and do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I work in the food world, and I think one of the dangerous things you can see there is when people feel this kind of fundamentalism. Like,
yes.
I've got the diet that everybody should eat, right?
Yes.
And what works for you brilliantly for 5 or 10 years may not work for your whole life, right?
Yes.
Because your composition changes, your life stage changes, your hormones change. A lot of people who've been eating a standard American diet for a long time need to really cleanse and detoxify. But long-term sustenance is different than short-term cleansing and purification.
Yes.
And frankly, even your ecosystems change. The amount of minerals and vitamins in certain foods may change over the course of time. So being able to attune ourselves to the wisdom, to know how to read our body's signals and not be at the mercy of commercial agendas that are trying to make money off of selling us their version of health, is one of the powerful forces that we need to awaken to. And that means never ceasing to be curious about our own body's wisdom and responses in reality, and combining that with a mental understanding. Sometimes we'll learn data and we'll take a supplement, not because we instantly know that it feels good, but because we learned enough information to know that it's probably helpful. Like, vitamin D is one of those things that we're just learning more and more about how helpful it is. So I take it every day that I'm not getting a lot of sunlight, not because I'm absolutely certain that it's good for me, but because the information that I've gathered makes me feel that it's worth doing, right? So there's all this process of learning mentally, and then also listening to our bodies, and then also listening to our ecosystems. And I think every true endeavor, wisdom, comes out of curiosity and learning. And the day we cease to learn, I think, is the day that we start to die.
Beautifully said. And it's a bold stand, and I completely agree with it. One of the things that we teach in our entrepreneurial leadership programs is that curiosity is an element of an enrollment conversation or any sort of integrous marketing that you'll ever put out into the world. That, that curiosity that you bring to your potential clients is what sells you, right? It's that energy that says, I want to know what you want from me. How can I serve you? Who are you? How do you work? What are your biggest challenges? How can I stand in the knowing that you can have those things that you're striving for and reaching for? And that element of curiosity is, I think, something that we have sometimes gotten away from in the information overload of the internet and the conclusions and the, bigger, better, faster, stronger sort of business strategy that happens when we plug in, especially online, and that curiosity is coming from a more feminine place. It's coming from a more yin place of, I'm going to receive who you are and what you need, so that then I can actually give you the answer to what you've been asking for. And you know, that's evolutionary integrous marketing. And one of the reasons I think the food revolution has been so successful is because you and your father are so clearly aligned with your mission on this planet, and you're consistent and you don't sway, and you bring a lot of voices into the mix. And then I've watched you hold a line of, okay, so here's all of the different philosophies on food. Here's all of the different choices that you can make. You know, here's how we recommend you find your way as a consumer. And you empower your clients. You know, you're not just spoon feeding them exactly what you think they need.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit more to the journey that you've had of being a leader of this kind of a movement? You know, you're not selling something that's super easy and straightforward to sell. You're not selling business coaching. You're not helping somebody find their soulmate. I know there's a lot of you listening who have a movement you'd like to launch and or are launching already and have launched that are more non-traditional in nature. Ocean, can you help guide those folks?
Yeah, well, I would say, again, that there are many different niches and opportunities in making the world a better place, and that if you have a gift and it is meeting a need, there is a way to bring it to market in a way that will serve. Now, I think one of the places that gets the most challenging is serving communities that don't have money, right, or don't have much money. And if you want to live in the developed world off of a developed world type of salary, and yet be fundamentally serving people of really low income in an inner city community or a community where the standard of living is a lot lower than where you want to live, then there is an inherent mismatch there. And generally, the way you can be of greatest service then is going to be maybe through the nonprofit sector, where you do fundraising from people where the income is coming from people who have resources on par with what the world you're living in, right? But you're not going to, if you're taking money from poor people to fund your work for poor people, then I think there's a little bit of an ethical challenge there, I would just say. So ultimately, a lot of us do want a more just world, and we have to reconcile with those kinds of questions, because there's a lot of marketing and services to people with wealth, right? And there's a reason for that, right? Because it's more profitable, generally speaking. And so there's an inherent complexity that I think anybody who wants a more just world has to navigate. How can you truly be of service to low-income communities that may not be able to afford to pay you to serve them, right? And yet, so some of us create balancing things. I mean, we offer scholarships widely to our programs to people who can't afford them. And then we also offer a lot for free, and we build into our business model that we're always, if we're doing opt-in gifts, for example, they're not just little bait and switch things. They really offer serious value for free to everybody. And then from there, people who want to go deeper with us can have the opportunity to engage in a way that's going to involve some financial compensation. And, you know, there's different ways to structure that. At this point, we've kept our price points all pretty low. We don't have a big high-end program, because we feel like food is so widespread, and we'd rather go for quantity of people and breadth of reach in our work if we can. That said, we may at some point go deeper with smaller numbers of people, but that's just how we've structured it so far. I think the art of, in business after business, we're finding that there's a real art to offering something for free that pulls people in and lets you cast a wider net and build a community and build a tribe and making it great. You really put your best stuff out there with the free offerings, right? You don't hold it back, but at the same time, you don't give it all away. You don't open up the whole store. If you're going to give a free sample, you make sure it's a great tasting sample, right? And it's enough that people feel like they're getting something, but you also don't give it all away, and then there's an opportunity for people who are hungry for more to go further. And I think that concept in place after place is useful. I mean, my friend was opening a massage practice, and he had local businesses. They could have a little fish bowl where people could put their business cards or names in if they wanted to win a free massage. And, you know, every business would get a free massage once a month for somebody in their customer base. So they would put it on the checkout stand area, and people were putting their cards in. And this guy built a huge list of people who were potential clients. And he'd give away a free massage to some of them. But he also built a lot of people who were interested in massage, right? And so that's just one marketing example where free resources can really help build connection. I think that the core principle that there is a market for what people need, right? And that if you can give it well and effectively, then there's a way to monetize that is very real in this world. And if you're working with low-income communities, you're probably going to need to find some fundraising support. And the Pachamama Alliance is a classic example where I think one of the roles that we in the developed world can play sometimes is being bridge builders. You know, bridge builders between communities that don't have the technology to put on telesummits or reach out widely. They may not even speak English, but they're doing really, really pivotal, powerful, cutting-edge work in the world that all of us have a stake in. And when we can find really trusted resources like the Pachamama Alliance that are deeply invested in working in solidarity with those people, then that's just an incredible opportunity for those of us who have resources to be able to give in direct and tangible and powerful ways. And I encourage everyone who feels some gap between your social justice intents and the way that your business is operating currently to think about some way of building a bridging relationship, whether it's giving free resources to low-income communities or some kind of tithing context like you've created, Sage. I think these are really powerful ideas for feeling integrity. And that's the other thing I would say is that the feeling of integrity is really powerful. When you're in your integrity, people can feel it and they will respond to your work from a different place. And one of the things that can help you feel in integrity is if you know you're more than just a traveling salesperson. You're a stand for something you love and you believe in and you're committed to. And I invite you to look at your life across the board and your business across the board and say, where do I feel not in full integrity with what I stand for and believe in? You know, and whatever that is, it doesn't mean you beat yourself up over it. It doesn't mean that you have to get defensive about it. It just means you look at it and say, okay, how would I apply curiosity to this situation? Is there an opportunity to learn more, to inquire more, what integrity might look like for me? But I can tell you that when you find that stand, when you find that place, you are unmovable. You are unstoppable. In martial arts, we call it being in center, right? When you're centered, your ability to resist force or impact is many times greater because the pressure you're up against goes straight down into the earth. Whereas when you're off center, you get knocked right over. Well, the same is true in any endeavor. And when you can find that ground of being and move from it, when you can align yourself and your work with your mission and your purpose and what brings you alive, then suddenly it's not work anymore, it's joy and fulfillment, and you're doing it in a way that you love.
Yes. I love what you're saying. I absolutely encourage every one of you listening to pay attention to this bridge building concept that Ocean just highlighted. We're doing it with evolutionary entrepreneurs, right? My clients know that I'm not just a business coach. I'm an environmentalist. I'm a spiritual teacher. I have all of these different parts of me, and yet I'm really good at business, right? We've built a $1 million company in less than just a few years and reaching tens of thousands of people. And I know that I can help people build really on-purpose businesses and make money doing it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to leave behind my passions, my absolute commitment to continuing to raise money for environmental issues, for women around the world that need it. And so Ocean is somebody that's gone from the nonprofit model to the for-profit model. And yet his services still serve, you know, over 100,000 people. And so I really want to encourage each of you to pay attention to the myriad of passions that you may have in your portfolio, because you may have a passion that's really marketable that you like doing, and it's not all of who you are, but you may be resisting doing it because you're afraid that you're going to give up being able to help these other people. But what if you could do both? Right? For instance, I have a client who loves helping teachers. She loves helping public school teachers. And yet public school teachers, it's not necessarily an audience that are going to invest in expensive self-care programs for themselves, even though they need it. So she's helping people leave corporate America, and once a month she goes and speaks at these teacher conferences, and people love her, and you know, she gets to give away all this love and support to teachers, but she's making her money with the corporate folks, and she's more fulfilled than ever. She's on track to doing $1 million in sales this year, and she's able to give back to teachers and really support and empower some of these teachers that are like in the, you know, they're in the trenches, like they're in with these kids in some inner city schools and things like that. So to really ask yourself, you know, what is the path of me being able to combine these things I'm so passionate about, but not leave behind a part of me that might be really, really marketable.
Exactly. I think that the part of the task before us is to really inquire, what we love, what we love to do, where do we feel alive, what could you do during the day that would just absolutely light you up. And it may be that there are some things you would love to do that don't make as much money as other things that you would less love to do. But remember to factor into the equation that if you're happier and more fulfilled, you're probably going to save a lot of money in therapy bills. You're probably going to have greater health and spend less time being sick. You're probably going to be more fun for your partners or loved ones to be around. You might have happier relationships with your kids or your family. You are likely to be more fulfilled in all kinds of ways that actually have monetary value, right? So it's important to factor your own happiness and fulfillment into the equation, and also to recognize absolutely that you've got to find a way to make it work in the real world.
Yeah.
And I have loved ones who said, "Oh, I followed my heart, I followed my dream, and I ended up broke." Right?
Right.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not one of these airy-fairy people that says, "Oh, just do what you love and it'll all work out." No, we've got to have tough minds and tender hearts, as Dr. Martin Luther King put it. We've got to combine good strategy and business sense with our own values and passion. But when we do bring those two together, we get a force that's much more powerful than they are when they're divorced from each other.
I love that. That's powerful. Really, really powerful. I hope some of you are capturing this on Facebook. I always go back and copy and paste the best quotes from the interviews right from the Facebook page. Ocean, where would you say you would recommend people begin, especially people that have a passion for a social justice type of movement like yours? How would you recommend someone get started actually looking at making a living doing what they're doing?
Well, if you're brand new to entrepreneurship and you want to find a niche, then obviously the first step is to explore. Again, I come back to that meeting point. What does the world need? What needs of the world, I could say, speak to you, right? Obviously the world needs everything, right? But what of those needs speak to you in a place that is evocative, right? And then what do you love to do? And then what are you good at doing? And if you can kind of take stock of those three things and then feel, are there some convergence points? That's one thing, okay? Then supposing that you land on some convergence points, one of the things I love to do is model after what's working. I mean, if you're going to build a website, find a website you love and see if you can build one that looks like it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Learn from the best. Learn from people who inspire you. If you want to write a book, read books by people that you think write really, really well on topics that are similar to yours. It's good market research, and you'll also be absorbing their style, their cadence, and their message. And ultimately, you've got to find what's unique about you, right? If you're competing, so to speak, if you're placing yourself in the broader marketplace, then you've got to know, how is this similar to and different from the already established dominant forces in that market, right? Now, not everyone has to be completely unique. If you're a massage therapist, for example, you don't have to have some unique way of describing your massage therapy, but you will be unique. Your touch, your way of being with clients is utterly unique in all the world. There's only one you, right? So finding out how you manifest that, you don't always have to verbalize it, but it's better if you can find a way to verbalize, what are you really good at, right? What are you skilled at or gifted at, and what do you love to bring? And if you can find a way to communicate that in a way that meets the needs and desires that people have, then you're really getting somewhere in terms of marketing. Obviously, you need to develop a business plan, and some of the core elements are going to be like, one is, how do you find lead generation, essentially, whether it's online or in the flesh. How do you connect with people? How will they discover you, right? And then how do you nurture them along a pathway from discovering you or you discovering them, you capturing their email address or their name or their business card or building connection along the pathway to giving them resources, adding value for them in some way, and then inviting them into whatever it is you're offering, right? And then finding a price point in a way of marketing that. And then you've got retention, right? How do you keep them over time? Again, back to being a nutritionist or a massage therapist, you might have an initial introductory session, but ultimately you've got to establish that you have something valuable to give them over time and then develop packages for that. So, I mean, these are some of the basic principles that I think apply. And every step of the way, one of the questions I need to keep returning to in my work is, am I really in integrity with who I am and what I'm on earth for and what I value? And I have a part of me that can start to focus so much on wanting something, wanting to close a deal, wanting to make an agreement, that I lose my integrity in that process. I lose the stand that I'm taking. So here's one of the fundamental principles I think we need in any endeavor, is to realize that your goal in any relationship with somebody is to help them and you reach clarity on whether or not this is a fit, right? And if it's not, then hallelujah, let's know that, right? You don't need a massive email list of people that never open your messages, don't click and hate you and tag you as spam, right? You don't need that.
Right.
You don't need friends that aren't going to show up for you in times of need.
Right.
Or business partners that are unreliable or that are hucksters, right? So better to hone in on the relationships that count. It's better to have a smaller email list of people that are actually engaged and love you than a bigger email list that's a bunch of crap, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay to send those messages out. And so don't dilute yourself. If you're a fundraiser and you're in the nonprofit sector, you want to know the donors that love you and that are resonant with your message. And if someone says, no, it's not for me, great. When I was in the nonprofit world and I was raising money all the time, what I hated was the donors that never took the time to call me back and tell me no.
Right.
They'd stay on my freaking checklist of people to follow up with, and I'd call them 5 times a year.
Right.
And it was so liberating to say, you know what, this is not a fit, not now and not ever, right?
Right.
And so have the courage yourself to be that person who tells people no when you feel a no.
Yeah.
And tells people maybe when you feel a maybe, and then tells people yes when you feel a yes, and honor that truth in other people and give them the information that they can get there faster and sooner. Of course you want a wide tent and you want to be welcoming and embracing. At the same time, to be able to know who your work is for and who it's not for is really powerful. And if you can tell people that, you'll actually gain credibility.
Yes.
You know?
I think so too. I absolutely think so too. And one of the things I love about what you're saying is that you're unapologetically standing for what it is that you stand for, and you're knowing that not everybody's going to come with you. One of the quotes that we shared last week in our client forum was, leadership is going where you're going, whether or not anyone is following you. And that's what I feel in you, Ocean. It's like you're holding a stake for healthy food, for non-GMOs. You're willing to do whatever it takes, and you know not everybody's going to be with you, and you know that your stand is it's probably gonna piss somebody off. It's gonna piss some people off. And let's be honest, if you guys aren't out there having some people like roll their eyes at you or kind of doubt your ability to succeed, you're probably not taking a bold enough stand, really.
Yeah.
So be willing to take that bold stand.
Absolutely. And I also want to say, be willing to make money or raise money to engage with money as a part of the stand that you take.
Yeah.
Because one of the criticisms you're going to get, especially if you step into offering free resources and value as a part of your funnel, as a part of your system for building relationships with clients or people, is that they're going to want more for free. They're going to expect more for free. And of course, who doesn't love some free stuff, right? And you can get a lot for free on the internet these days. You know, so how do you find a way to know in your full integrity that, you know what, if you don't charge money or raise money, if you're a nonprofit, you're not going to be in business. Yeah. And then what service will you be, right? So to realize that actually you being in a clean, pure state of mind where you're not overwhelmed and stressed and exhausted and strung out is part of one of the things you've got to invest in if you're going to be able to truly serve and show up for what you're here for your big, powerful mission in the world.
Beautiful.
That's the truth of it. Yeah. And you having enough financial resources to do that is absolutely critical to your ability to feel supported in every way that you can be. And need to be, perhaps. Yeah. So obviously, living simply can be beautiful. I'm not a fan of everyone should be opulent or live like the 1%. You know, we live in a world of finite resources, and I think frugality is a precious value. It was Thoreau who said, I make myself rich by making my wants few. So absolutely, there's an immense power to being clear about what you do and don't need and want, and having that simplicity can be really liberating. So you don't need as much. That said, whatever your needs are, and however you define them, having them met can be immensely powerful to your ability to truly serve and stand in the world for what you love. And a lot of people who want to be of service and who care actually feel like it is selfish or like they are being like they feel guilty that they need to charge money at all. Or if people in the nonprofit sector will sort of apologize, like they'll speak so passionately about their mission, and they'll say, and I'm sorry, we need to raise money. If you wouldn't mind, could you help a little bit? Now, how sexy is that, right? I mean, if you're raising money, stand in the boldness that you and this other person are each parts of a triangle, right? And you each are working for a higher common mission. Right? And so in any stand that we take, what's the mission ultimately? If you're a natural health practitioner, if you're a food coach, if you're a massage practitioner, is your vision that your clients are more healthy, that they have more flexibility, that their body is more alive and vibrant, that they're better able to do what they're on earth for, that they feel more fulfilled and at peace and relaxed and comfortable in their body, you know? Is your mission, if you're an activist, that the world's more sustainable or more socially just, or that the rainforests are still standing a generation from now, you know? That the lungs of the planet provide us the oxygen that we need to stabilize our climate. Is that what you're standing for? And if that's what you're standing for, then not only should you not feel guilty about inviting people to stand with you by contributing their resources and whatever they have to give, you should feel proud and grateful and honored to have the opportunity to invite people to liberate their resources, their time, their energy, their money on behalf of their commitments.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautifully said. I could not agree more. And you guys heard it in Lynn Twist's voice yesterday. She's raised millions of dollars for both the Hunger Project and the rainforest. And she is a smart businesswoman. And so no longer are the days of the social justice leaders sacrificing their needs because they don't have a healthy enough relationship with money, right? Lynn said it yesterday really well, and I talked about it in my interview just before you, Ocean, that we have to be embracing our relationship with money to be able to make the difference that we want to make on this planet. We simply cannot serve from a place of feeling filled up and served and cared for ourselves if we're trying to figure out, you know, we can't be the light of the world if we're trying to figure out how to pay our light bill, right? You said it really well. And so what is one thing that you feel like those of us and those listeners who are so passionate about what they do and they're still working on their relationship with money? We are evolutionary entrepreneurs, right? We're building businesses that evolve our clients, that evolve the planet, and that evolve ourselves. How can we continue to evolve our relationship with money?
Realize that being an evolutionary entrepreneur is not being a perfectionist entrepreneur.
Nice.
Yeah. So what evolution means is that you start from point A and you move to point B and then you move to point C, and you're never actually in some finite static place. You're always learning, you're always growing, you're always evolving, you're always responding and developing. And you're always curious, right? And even if you get filled up on a meal, a few hours later, you're hungry for another one, you know, because we're part of life. We're part of the cycles of life. And what's happening in these times is that we are evolving faster and faster. I mean, the world is changing so rapidly. We have access to levels of information that are unprecedented. And if you could see a graph of the cumulative body of human knowledge over the course of the last century, it would be a truly exponential curve. So we now learn more in a year than we used to learn in 20 years.
Right.
And so every one of us is part of this rapid evolutionary journey that we're on. And one of the things I think we're learning now is how we be centered and even slow down in the midst of this so that the speed of development doesn't rob us of our ability to relax, our ability to be open to deeper wisdom and not be just caught up in the rat race, right? So that's part of the evolutionary journey as well. And I think that anytime we find ourselves off balance, there is a natural balancing impulse that emerges. It's not when you're walking, you're never actually truly balanced. You're going from right foot to left foot to right foot to left foot, and it's that movement and that dynamism that enables us to carry forward. So I feel like being an evolutionary entrepreneur carries one of those same principles, which is that wherever you are, you just feel where you're called. You bring as much wisdom as you can to that journey, and then you move. And we cannot make the perfect the enemy of the good. If you try to know exactly where you're headed and how you're going to get there before you even start, you're probably never going to start, right? Because there's a lot, when you're climbing a mountain, you may have a good vision of your course and where you want to get to, and it's powerfully important to know where you're going and what your vision is and what you're working towards. That said, as you go, you're going to see things you couldn't see from far away about how the layout and the landscape unfolds. And you're going to have to be able to respond and develop in real time as your course develops. Similarly with entrepreneurship, have a vision, have a direction, be unstoppable once you get a sense of clarity about what you want to move towards, but also be flexible and responsive and adaptable to what you learn and see. Because, you know, it's so easy to say, you know, to be so dogmatic about where we want to get to, that we don't realize that we've got some new information that might cause us to need to shift and evolve, right? So I really want to emphasize the evolutionary part of entrepreneurship, the sense that we are in real time, actually right this moment. Okay, here you are right now listening to me, listening to Sage. Right at this moment, you have choice points, right? Perhaps even critical, life-changing choice points about where your path's going to go and how you're going to move from here. And I want to invite you to consider the possibility that the next step you take might be pivotal, might be game-changing in terms of where you go and how your path unfolds. And it might be a small step. Most likely it's going to be 2 or 3 feet like every other step we take. The question is, what direction does it move you in? And is it coming from a place of wisdom and depth and power that can help carry you forward as you chart that new course?
I can't believe that just came out of your mouth, Ocean. We're like so triangulated with the divine right now. I love it. It was actually what I wanted to leave everybody with. And so let's go there right now. Let's just capitalize on this moment and ask every single one of you, what are you going to do as a result of these last 3 days of interviews with us? Now, not all of you have caught every interview, but there is something that drew you to us. There was an evolutionary impulse that you answered when you signed up for this series. What is it that you want to take with you as a result of being here with Lynn Twist, with Panache Desai, with Neil Donald Walsh, with Ocean Robbins? What is it that you want to take from being here with us over these last 3 days in this collective energy field? And what is it that you're committed to doing next? And Ocean and I would highly recommend that the thing that you choose right now is something that you might normally not choose, or that you might normally procrastinate, or something that might be a little bit on the edge of your comfort zone, and actually post it on the Facebook page. So click on the link below, post it on the thread so that this community can hold you accountable and we can be evolving into being more comfortable at our edge of discomfort, just like I talked about in the last interview. This is not about being comfortable all the time. And post your bold action step, your bold evolutionary action step to keep getting your message out into the world in a bigger way on the Facebook page so that we can celebrate you, so that we can hold you accountable. And I'll tell you that when we tell somebody else what it is that we're committed to, this action step Ocean is inviting you into, and myself, you're 50% more likely to actually do it. So take this opportunity and ask. Is there anything you want to add to that, Osh?
Yeah, and if you can tie it to your mission.
Well, yeah.
What's the step you're taking, and what is your vision that you're stepping towards?
Perfect.
Right? I think that's also really powerful. You know, there's the old parable that you know, this guy's walking along and he sees 2 people, and one of them's doing something, and he says, "What are you doing?" They say, "I'm putting one brick on top of the other." He asks the other one, and they say, "I'm building a cathedral." And they're doing the same thing, right?
Right.
So when you feel connected to what your ultimate mission is, then everything changes.
I love that.
I want to say, in every service that is actually contributing something to the world or people or the planet in some way, you are part of something valuable. So find it. If you're staying in some corporate job that you've hated, find a way to bring beauty and meaning there. Realize that wherever you are, in every walk of life, in every sector of society, there are opportunities to serve and to bring beauty and magic and love. And when you do that, you light up your world for yourself. You also light up the world for other people. It's contagious. It is possible to practice random acts of kindness and bring senseless beauty and joy into every domain and field. And you can be an entrepreneur simply by standing for what's possible and responding to need with possibility. So I invite you to live into your evolution and your entrepreneurship, your service, your joy, and find ways to manifest that and light up this world.
And it's actually what's most attractive about you. And it's what's most attractive about you, Ocean. And I think it's why people come to me as well. It's like we are bringing our light to what we do. And communication and marketing, it's actually like less than 30% your words. Less than 30%, right? So that's fascinating. There's over 70% of us that's speaking and attracting and magnetizing the people that we're meant to work with that has nothing to do with what we even say. And so I love, love, love what you're inviting us all into, Ocean. So post on the Facebook page, what's that next step that you're going to take in the process of building your entrepreneurial cathedral? Not just the next brick, but the next piece of your work of art that you're creating on the planet to make a dent in the struggles that this world is challenged with. And Ocean, we're going to wrap up here. I know that when people donate to the rainforest, they get an incredible gift from you. They get a training that you're going to be giving them called the Real Food Action Guide. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
Absolutely. Well, so my dad, John Robbins, and I, one of the things we do is put on telesummits where we interview top food experts and share their voices with the world. So we put together a 29-page Real Food Action Guide where we convey some of our top tips for people who want to live and eat in a healthy way. And we also convey leading-edge insights from Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Vandana Shiva, and from my dad and I, and also we put out action steps and useful resources, and the whole goal here is to empower you as a real food champion. Now, why would that be part of an evolutionary entrepreneurship event? Well, I'll tell you a couple of reasons. One is that we all eat, right? And so what we eat has an impact on our energy level, on our health and vitality, on our ability to truly rock our mission and serve and give and be well, right? Number two is that food is one of those places where the personal and the political get married, where how you show up for your body and your health is directly impacting the well-being of farm workers and animals and ecosystems all over the planet. When we illumine those connections, we see how things connect. And I invite you to read this Real Food Action Guide and look at it as a doorway to see how you are actually part of larger systems, and think about how your work is part of larger systems, as part of the cathedral that you're building. So we stand for a food system that is healthy for people and for the planet. And the Real Food Action Guide is about helping you eat and live and walk that talk, which I know matters to you as well. And it's also about showing how any issue can become a portal to the whole systems of our world right now. And you'll see that illustrated in this domain.
Gorgeous. And even just for those of you that have a passion and you'd like to see how other entrepreneurs lay out their resources, this is an excellent model for you to take advantage of. I was telling Ocean's father just a couple of weeks ago, I was up having dinner at his house, and I was telling John, your dad, I was telling him that I've never taken such good care of my body as I started taking care of my body when I became an entrepreneur and a workshop leader. And some business owners go the other direction. They start their business, they get stressed out, they stop taking care of themselves. I actually went in the direction of, oh my God, like now I am my own income generator. You know, nobody's giving me a check. I don't get to drag into work, you know, feeling exhausted from the day before. People are paying for me, like they're buying my vital life force energy, my inspiration and my knowledge. So I went the other way. I started doing a lot of what you actually lay out in the action guide, and I started taking exquisite care of myself so that I could be a workshop leader, so that I could have the stamina to do interviews like this, to show up for my clients. I highly recommend you guys take advantage of this training from Ocean by donating $25 to the rainforest. And I just want to say that this $25 is going to go to support indigenous people of the Amazon, to preserve the culture, to help them get deeds to their land, to help the women of the rainforest have healthy births. Your $25 makes a huge difference, all right? And this whole 72 hours of free evolutionary entrepreneur training has been provided partly to get us in touch with how do we both build our businesses and do the right thing for the planet. And when you donate to the rainforest, we want to give back to you. You're going to get the abundance activation with Rika Zimmerman. You're going to get a 30-day prayer training from Jennifer McLean, who's built an incredible movement called Healing with the Masters, hundreds of thousands of people If you're a healer, you're going to want to dive in and see how she laid that out. You're also going to get the 4 essential evolutionary business trainings from the Shift Network. And it's actually 5 trainings now, I think, because they added mine in. And you're also going to get 2 free tickets to the Entrepreneurial Women's Leadership event on the California coast. We've gotten a ton of questions from you guys about that event. Again, I said this on my interview, but I'll say it one more time. You do need to put down your $100 fully refundable seat deposit to claim your seat. Until you've done that, we don't know you're coming and we don't have a seat for you. We sold out last year several weeks in advance, so we want to be sure that you actually do have a seat waiting for you. My team will be calling you about that. So for those of you that are going to come join us and learn our love launch strategies on the California coast, please do be sure to put down your $100 seat deposit. We will hand it back to you when you walk in the door. And really what I want to leave every single one of you with is that being on the path of evolutionary entrepreneurship is the most courageous. It's the most important thing that you can do for the planet right now. And I know Ocean and I stand together in knowing that there is no better feeling on earth than going to bed at night knowing that you gave your spiritual all, that you have given this life everything that you've got, that you've been willing to give your life over to service. Ocean, what are some last words you'd like to leave our people with?
Well, I think you just said that so beautifully. And honestly, I'm working with that right now myself. As somebody who's passionate and driven, I'm wanting to tell myself inwardly, well done. You know, it's time to rest at the end of the day, right? So I guess I want to leave us with knowing that there is a balance to all things. And that we both need the fire and the unstoppable passion and power that can propel us past any obstacle and do anything that is truly ours to do from a place of deep center and conviction. And we also need the place of surrender and rest that says, enough, well done, I'm ready to rest and replenish.
Beautiful.
Right? And within that balance, you will find a dynamism and a potency that will enable you to sustain and serve for the long haul. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for being on this journey, for being in this inquiry, for being somebody who cares about the rainforest, who cares about evolution, who cares about responding to problems and crises with solutions and service. This world needs you desperately and deeply. And I hope that this series has supported you in your unique, brilliant, creative self in finding what is yours to give and to do and to stepping more fully into it. Because ultimately, that's what the world needs, is you.
Yeah.
You, just you, being you as fully, powerfully, and truthfully as you can. So thanks for all the work that you do to liberate who you are, your unique presence and gift and blessing on behalf of all beings. As one of the beings on this planet who is benefited and enriched by that, I say thank you.
Yeah, we say thank you. We collectively say thank you. Thank you for being somebody who wants to make your money in a way that is in integrity and that doesn't compromise who you are or the planet or the fairness and equality of others. Thank you for being on the evolutionary path. Thank you for evolving yourself as you evolve your clients and evolve the world. Ocean, it has been my honor. You're the perfect ray of light to wrap up this incredible series with. Thank you, Ocean. Thank you, every single one of you. Many of you have been asking what's next. What's next is that we want to connect with you through the trainings that each of the speakers has offered, through the Rainforest Grab Bag. When you donate your $25, you'll continue to connect with all of us. What's next is that I'm going to meet over 150 of you already who have registered your ticket at the Women's Leadership Summit. What's next is that we're going to be in touch, okay? We're going to be in touch on the Facebook page. We're going to be in touch with our emails, and we will let you know by the end of the day how much money we've raised collectively for the rainforest. There will be more, I promise. Keep shining your light. Give yourself a big hug from us at Evolutionary Entrepreneurs. And until next time, keep evolving and keep living your light. Bye, Ocean. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
We love you.
Much.